So somebody might come even closer to you than an elbow is useful for, and you cannot move back. Why? Because maybe you have a wall behind you. Maybe you have people behind you. Maybe the person has grabbed you in such a way that their arms are what's stopping you from moving back and their head is this close. Why somebody's head might be this close, it could just be a snapshot in time. And so at this point, the elbow won't work. What will work? My head. And so we're going to actually look at headbutts. This is not a weapon to be used over any kind of distance with any kind of real force. That's not what this is. This is not a bam, football hooligan headbutt, okay? They're very effective, okay? I think we've all probably seen it or at least heard some anecdotal evidence. Headbutts, for whatever reason, in the UK happen a lot. Just as a little aside, there's an interesting thing where cultures have different types of fighting things that show up, techniques, if you will. In the US, because of their wrestling background in the high schools and college, I assume this is the reason, you will see people tackle a lot and like to throw people to the floor. And in the UK, for whatever reason, I don't know, we headbutt a lot. In street fights, people get headbutted. So we're not doing that. We're not doing a bang, one of these. What we use the head for is to open up the gap so that we can move this target either into close range or long range, because it's at extreme close quarters and that's no good for us. So the way we use the headbutt is in one of two ways. It's either we're going to use it to tap with, to make the person, give them a strong incentive to move back, because you only need to tap someone with your head and you'll get a very strong response. Or you're going to push them with your head, you're going to push them away like this. So a little word on the tapping with the head is that ideally you want to be using the upper hemisphere of your head. If you imagine a line going around your head from the eyebrow level, you want to be using the parts of your head up here. Ideally, the corners of your head there. If you imagine that you had horns, like a devil or something, it's that place. You could call it a corner of your head, and it's quite it's a little bit of a protrusion, and it tends to be quite a strong part to hit with without having much concussive effect to you. You can use the top of the head, anything like that, anywhere above that line there with the upper hemisphere. But for whatever reason, most people find that this is quite a comfortable way of doing it. You want to be aiming for, ideally, but it's not guaranteed at all, the lower hemisphere of their head, so anywhere below that level of the eyebrow. This way, it's a hard thing, your weapon, against a soft target. Everything below that line kind of gives or moves. The nose and lips and ear move independently of the cranium itself, and anywhere below there tends to move when you press it or hit it. So it's less damaging to you, because you can knock yourself out by doing a big headbutt. That's why we don't do big headbutts. There's a video on YouTube of two college kids in America having some sort of headbutt competition, and the guy throwing the headbutt knocks himself out on the guy he headbutts. It's very funny. Try and find it. So when we do it, we tap like this. It's very effective. It has a very strong response. I accidentally made my friend's nose bleed not so long ago. I was training in the gym, and he's quite a playful guy, and he kind of came up behind me and wanted to play wrestle me or whatever, and I was kind of fighting back. I didn't have some like ninja response and like headbutt him. It's not like that. I was playing along as well, and I went to throw a pretend headbutt, only he moved in and it just clipped him. That's all it was. It was just a tap. I didn't feel a thing on my head. He felt a lot in his nose, blood, and he had to kind of sit that one out, and that was the end of that. They're very effective. You hit someone on the cheekbone or anywhere down there. It's such a hard thing, your head. It's a good weapon. So that's in the tapping kind of phase, method of using it. You brace your neck. You do not whip your head in like that, because we're not looking to concuss ourselves. It's just a tap like so. The other way is with the same sort of posture, but now if this is the target's head, we just push. So the head is too close and maybe they're grabbing us like this. No thank you. Push them away like so and they will move. No one likes to have that pressed in there like that. So the way we train this, we've got shot placement, and then we don't really do it on the pads because one, the pads are too soft. And what we definitely don't do is bring it into our pad work, because two, if you bring it into the dynamic pad work where we're holding hooks and straights, there's not any real context in which you can supply a real reason why you need to do it. And there's always a danger that someone will throw one of those, and we do not want to train that attribute. You found yourself in this type of position. I cannot move back because he has me clinched here. His head is very close and a bit closer still, too close to have any sort of effective elbow strike on him. My head is staring right at this target. This is where I would use my headbutt. So in a tapping form, it would look like this, boom. And I don't want to grab behind his neck. I might index a little bit, but I'm not going to grab him and headbutt him like this. I'm not saying that doesn't work, but we just don't want to get in the habit of bracing people's heads and clinging onto them in a high level force situation. We want to stay detached as much as we can so that we can use ballistic strikes. So from here, tap, tap, and if you just change the head angle of your head position somehow, bang, boom, and then further still, boom, forehead to forehead, it could happen. You got to accept that, bam. If he's closer still and he's right here, then I can use the pushing method, which would be like that. And it makes him want to move. Even when we do it lightly like this, when the hard corner of my head is on the soft tissue of his face, it makes people want to move. So push and like that. The way we train it with a little bit of force now is not on the pads, because again, they're too soft. But if you place your hands like so, we're going to use the heel of the palm. So you can drop that elbow a little bit and hold it a little bit like a pad. And I'm going to hit this part here because it's a bit harder. It gives a little bit more realism. So from here, I'm going to tap with a bit more force. Like so. Just tap. And it only happens from a few inches away. Stay nice and close. Do not creep out. This is why we have our back to the wall, so that you prevent anybody creeping away and doing one of those. So from here, tap. Tap, and then the push one is here, and we just push it away with some force, like so. And that's how you train the headbutt, and that's really the only safe way to do it.